Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. This is, as always, your host, Mike Bono. I got a great episode lined up for us today, but first and foremost, I wanted to tell everyone that the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Steve Sabo and his three books. That is Jester's Run, How to Fail at Stand-Up Comedy, and Kayla's Gone. You can find all three of these books on his website, stevesabo.com. Or you can find them on Amazon where you get your books. If you type in the promo code Ride Home Rants, you will get free shipping on any one of these books. That's Jester's Run, Kayla's Gone, and How to Fail at Stand-Up Comedy. I've read How to Fail at Stand-Up Comedy. Being a stand-up comedian, I needed to know what not to do and learn from him. It's a great book. I don't read a lot, and I read this book cover to cover. Also, the show is brought to you by Coach's Kitchen Dry Rub. Nick Tomba, wonderful guest on the show, has sent Johnny Fitty Falcone and myself some of his dry rubs that he makes. You can get them at tombaskitchen.com. Tell him you came from the Ride Home Rants podcast, and he will hook you up too as well. Go there. Be sure to support these wonderful sponsors of the show. That being said, I have a great guest for us today. It's been a long day, everybody, already. Nicole Feath comes to us all the way from Columbus, Ohio. And I say all the way because I don't know where you're at. She is not that far from me, so it's nice to talk to a fellow Ohioan. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Welcome to myself. I'm excited to be here. And thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. So let's dive into this here a little bit. You and your husband run a real estate investment type deal, and you're actually the CFO. So why into real estate, and what got you into all that?
Sure. So actually, my husband started our company, I think about 10 years ago. He worked for a third-party employer and just got to the point where, got sick of answering to somebody on a day-to-day basis, wanted to be his own boss, his own CEO. And he actually heard a message in the car one day about come to this class, learn how to do real estate. And that's how it all started. Him and I met in 2016, and I was working here in Columbus, Ohio, at the Hollywood Casino in Columbus, and we got married in 2018. And at that point, I knew he wanted to grow his business, and why not put the next best thing to you aside you and do this thing together. So we joined together forces in 2018 in business and in life. And it's been great ever since. I mean, there's been bumps in the road, obviously, but all in all, it's been an awesome journey. We, speak directly to ourselves. We report to ourselves. We turn business on and off when we want it. But yeah, we own several rental properties here in Columbus. We are private lenders on several deals here in Columbus. We buy, flip, rehab, and put properties back on the market, and we're wholesalers as well. So our company's called DF Premier Homes. We dabble in a little bit of everything, and you can find us online at www.dfpremierhomes.com and on Facebook and Instagram and everything. So yeah.
I was going to say, there's social media in there somewhere. It's 2022. There's right. A social media site for everything nowadays.
All over the place.
Yeah, I wanted to get that in and out of the way. I mean, we've had some real estate people on before, but nobody that really owned their own real estate investment company and had their own business. So, what's that like the day-to-day for you? As I know you make your own hours and everything like that, you report to yourself, but what does the day-to-day for that aspect look like for you?
Sure. So actually it's winter here in Ohio right now, and our business slows down immensely in the winter. A lot of people don't want to move. They don't want to try to figure out that process, try to navigate it, unload, unpack, all of that. So we actually slow a little bit in the winter. But our bulk of the season is from like March, April until like right before the holidays. So we're actually kind of taking a little bit of time off from real estate right now. We're still doing some things behind the scenes with obviously our rentals, properties that we bought before the holiday season, kind of rehabbing them, either putting them back on the market or keeping them in our rental portfolio. But a day-to-day for myself kind of flows to where I handle all of our marketing. We work with several different companies here in the area to know who to market to, who might be interested in selling properties. And so then I kind of go through lists and figure out how to mail to those people or reach them to see if they're interested in selling. And so I handle all of that communication behind the scenes. Those people call if they're interested. And then I pass that communication along to my husband. He kind of takes the lead from there. And we decide what we want to do with that property. If we want to keep it for ourselves, if we want to offload it to another buyer here in the market. We kind of navigate depending on where the property is, the condition it's in, so on and so forth. So I handle a lot of that behind the scenes. I also do a lot of our financials, making sure that we're hitting our numbers and our goals. I do a lot of billing for contractors that we use. So a lot of the behind the scenes work that a lot of people don't see and notice. Social media too, of course. So.
Yeah. That sounds like, I don't know how you have time to sit here and talk to me today right now. That sounds like a very
time management.
But yeah, I mean, on top of all that, just looking at your Instagram and your personal social media, you are what Johnny and I consider a fitness warrior. We would say. I don't know. You two work out. I haven't worked out in years. I don't know. It's been a long time. So kind of take us through that. You're on this fitness journey. What is that like, and what really made you think, and what started that journey for you?
Yeah. So I've always been into exercise, right? Like I've always been active, but I never did the other side of things. The how do you stay healthy? How do you maintain it? So more so the fitness side of things. I played collegiate volleyball. I was always active, always into sports, but as you get older, your metabolism doesn't work the same way. What you put into your body doesn't burn off the same way. It's just the way life is, right? We get older and it's gravity, it's life. So I knew I needed to kind of change. All of this change came about last year in 2020. Yeah, 2020. I forget, like it's 2022 now. It's the beginning of this year. So 2020, it all came about. COVID shut everything down. Gyms were shut down. And my husband's over here losing a good 10 to 15 pounds. And we're watching what we're eating, but I'm not doing that. Like it's everything he's losing is packing onto me. And so I'm like, what is the deal? Like it's super frustrating, right? So I went into my doctor and my thyroid levels were way out of whack. My levels were sitting at a 4.8, and your level should have been a 0.02 to a 1. So I was like quadruple what I should be. I was carrying a lot of weight in my neck. Like I get this tire around my neck too. And so it showed I was underactive. Like my levels I was not burning the way I should be. So natural instinct for doctors, and I won't like knock doctors because they're trained a certain way, but I was given a pill to try to mask the problem and put a Band-Aid on it. And did it work? Somewhat. You know, I was pushing 200 pounds at the time, and it brought me down to a good 188, 190. And I was just there.
Yeah.
I just was stuck. And so I knew habits needed a change. I would go Monday through Friday doing what I thought was all the right things. And then the weekend I'd be like, okay, I can binge on this. I can do this. I can eat a little bit of this. And those little bites were turning into big, big bites. And every single week I was restarting. So I followed my coach's journey. Her name is July. And she was posting and living her life out loud on social media. And she's a mom of 2. She doesn't work out at all. She dropped 50 pounds just by eating what she needed to eat when she needed to eat it. And so I was pretty much sold. I was like, heck yeah, I needed something. I needed this accountability. I needed something to buy into that made me take it more seriously. And I just didn't know what to do either. Like, we hit a point where we're just stuck. Like, what makes sense? Starving all day and eating one meal, is that making sense? Am I going to go to the gym and just kill myself to death and sweat until I'm blue in the face? But then that never lasts either, because you get so sick of it. It becomes a job. So I started this health journey in June 23rd to be exact, after seeing her journey, and it's been full steam ahead ever since. It's been the best thing I've ever done for myself. And I just feel like a weight has been lifted off of me.
I gotta say, you saying that she lost 50 pounds by eating, that
Yeah.
intrigued me. That's all I do is eat. I for the new listeners out there, I've told this story back in season 1. I met my wife coming up on 6 years now. It'll be 6 years in July. And I was 175 pounds. I was in shape. I was going to the gym twice a day for like 2 hours at a time with a buddy of mine. I was in the gym all the time, and I was 175 pounds. Fast forward now, I am 250 pounds, and I haven't sniffed the gym or anything like that in 6 years now. It's to the point where, yes, life gets in the way. I have a son now, and it's to the point now where I feel like I have to keep getting myself bigger because he's getting bigger. He's 12. He's 5'9" and 205 pounds. He's my little tank. And it's to the point now where we used to wrestle around and I didn't have to try, and I could just pin him down with one hand, and it was fun. We both laughed. Now one of us gets hurt because I have to try. Like, I have to try to wrestle my son. And it's because we're in the same weight class now. That's just where we're at. But how does that work, your system, where you said she lost the 50 pounds by eating? How does that work?
Yeah. So first, let me throw out the disclaimer, because results do vary, right? What you put in, you'll get out. And programs vary too, depending on the goals that somebody wants to achieve, or where you start, because nobody's start day one is the same as somebody else's day one. The most important thing is that you start. So results do vary. So just throwing that out there. But so I started June 23rd at 187.6 pounds. Like, the heaviest I've been, besides when I went into the doctor and realized that my thyroid was completely out of whack. So ever since that day, starting on June 23rd, what my day looks like is I fuel my body every 2 to 3 hours with well-balanced nutrition that is packed with the exact amount of carbs, exact amount of fats, exact amount of sugars, high protein, to constantly get myself to burn fat is where I start. And so your body is in go the moment that you put that key in the ignition, which means you're awake. And so your body needs an energy source. And if it doesn't, what happens is it starves and it stores. And so you're wanting to fuel that machine every 2 to 3 hours throughout the day. It's a completely different philosophy than what we've ever probably been taught or trained. And most people just don't know. So this process where I started, and again, programs do vary depending on somebody's goals, but where I started, I knew I wanted to lose weight, and my goal was to lose 20 pounds to start. And I crushed that in 2 months. Just by my eating habits. Like, working out was not in the picture. Understand that it's good to get your body moving and active, but in the gym, exercise is meant to train the muscle. If you have fat that lies over the muscle, you'll never truly see that muscle. Like, you need to focus and target that fat first, to where that muscle captivity is here, then you have the fat, and then you have the skin. The purpose is then to bring that skin closer to the muscle to then start training the muscle. But if you never eliminate that fat through your nutrition habits, what happens is that muscle just keeps expanding, the fat keeps growing, and you start getting bigger, which is exactly what happened to me before I started my journey. So I feed all day long. I eat at least 6 meals a day, at least, sometimes even 7, some 8, but it's super easy and convenient. The nutrition system gives you exactly what you need. Like, the science has been done, the research has been done, and it's provided to you. You just need to apply it. Like, we're not scientists. It's not what we're trained to do. And so it's given to you. You just need to put it in place and do the work.
Yeah. Eating 6 times a day. I mean, again, just my inner fat man is just screaming like, what is this? I need it.
Yeah.
I also have a day job where I work in retail, and there's, 3 days out of the week, I am there 11 and a half hours a day. So it's to the point where I snack a lot throughout the day, mainly to keep myself awake during the slow times at work. Working in retail, this isn't the busiest time of the year right after the holidays and everyone being tapped out financially. I get that. But, working those days, there's times when it's like I do have my busy work that's not sales that I could be doing, but I blow through that in like an hour. And then I'm like, all right, 10 and a half more hours to go. What do I do? So it's a lot of sitting around, and I snack a lot throughout the day, because then I know I'm going to get home and I'm going to eat that big meal, that dinner meal, but it's normally not till 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And I know most say that's a terrible time to eat. Is that correct? That's not a good time to eat at that late at night?
No. So actually, after I get off the call with you, I already have my dinner prep to eat it after our call, and it's 8:30. So, and I've actually had 4 other meals before having that meal after we get off of our podcast tonight. So the thing is the longer you wait, and if you just wait to eat that meal at that one time in the day, then you're just constantly hungry, because your body's on a roller coaster ride. And so that's why you're seeing this constant snacking, because your body's never really satisfied. It's screaming that it needs more of a balance. And sometimes too, when we feel like we're hungry, sometimes it's also our body's way of calling out that it's dehydrated. Sometimes it's wanting water. Water is very crucial, and it's definitely underestimated. Water helps with that skin, the complexion, as well as flushing the toxins out, and so many other purposes behind water that people don't even know, like fighting off disease. So that's huge too, and getting at least 64 ounces of water in a day.
Wow. Yeah. I know I don't drink that much water. I run on energy drinks. I make the joke because, I do have my bad habits. I am a smoker. And I say the only thing that keeps this old boy running is caffeine and nicotine. That's pretty much what gets me through my days. Now, especially the super late nights, being a comedian and being on stage, and then you get that rush and that energy burst after a good show when people are cheering and laughing, and when you did well, because there's no going to sleep or anything after that. There's been times when my wife and I would drive home after a show and it's 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. She's been sleeping the entire time on the way home, and I'm just amped and I can't go to bed. So I just sit and pace my house pretty much because there's nothing to do. It's night. I don't want to wake anybody up, and because everybody's sleeping, and I don't know what to do with myself because I have that rush of energy. And there's times I've been in the car 3 hours. I've had to drive 3 hours to the show and 3 hours back. So 6 hours in a car for a show. And then I'm home, and then it's like all my mind saying, it's like, all right, just maybe if you just lay down and close your eyes, you'll just sleep. So no, a lot of my writing of my material happens after a show at 3, 4 in the morning when I'm just can't sleep because I'm just that jacked up from the show. And I got to say, from what I've heard, it's been my best material. As
There you go.
It's the
There
best.
you go.
Is that normal for people to have that rush? Like, this just the emotional factor happen to you as well with your journey? Is that a big thing of it too?
Oh gosh, yes. Honestly, I've always loved my life, right? Like I always loved who I was. I always loved my journey. I feel like everything happens for a reason. Those tough days make sense, more down the road, like why they happen. But right now I feel like I'm living my best. I'm finally like finding my purpose with this journey, and now helping others with this journey too. Obviously, it's not my system. I'm using somebody else's system. But I needed it. I was screaming out, like needing help. I needed something. And I'm so glad that this journey came into my life when it did, because now I feel like I found that purpose to help others that are screaming out for, I need help too. Like I want to feel better. I want to be a better version of me. So, this journey's just given me life. Not only have I lost the weight, shedded several pounds and inches, but my joints feel so much better. I could never run before. So I thought, but it was me holding myself back because I had all this pressure of weight sitting on my thighs that was putting pressure on my knees, that I didn't have that mobility. My thyroid levels are finally normal, which was huge for me. And my confidence is now through the roof. It encourages me to want to go to the gym, and get myself moving because I'm seeing what I want to see. It's not forced anymore. My energy is high, if you can't tell. I sleep much, much better. Like I sleep soundly through the night, and I track it on my watch, and I'm sleeping a good 90%. I'm shopping in my own closet, for pieces that I haven't worn in years that I've just kept. And like the non-scaled victories go on and on. So yeah, I mean, that rush of energy, if you find yourself and what speaks to you and what's heavy on your heart, then yes, you have that rush in anything. It's just what gives you that rush. What is your purpose? What's your fulfillment? And now that's what this is for me. As the real estate business is still there and I'm still present and it's still our company, that was my husband's journey. And I'm so thankful for that because it got me out of working for a third-party employer as well. But I felt like I needed my own. I needed to come into me. And so this journey's brought me that.
Awesome. That's a great story. And every time, I'm sorry about this, but my dog loves to be on this podcast, and she just
I love it.
She knows every time when I record because she comes in, and I'm surprised she's quiet. I own a husky, and I'm the quietest husky known to man because she doesn't bark, she doesn't talk, but every time I'm recording, she comes rushing up to me, and I can hear in her, she's just breathing like on my face. Hi. Yes. Okay. Go to mama. Go. All right. Yeah. every time. It's never
Awesome.
fails.
I love it.
She's always coming into the podcast, and she's made a couple of appearances by jumping up on my lap and being right in the camera. It's it's a fun time being a dog owner. She keeps me busy and active too as well.
I bet. Fur babies are sometimes more work than regular kids and adults. Like they take so much more time and energy out of you for sure.
Absolutely. She's way more high maintenance than my 12-year-old. He's at that point where like video games are life, and he's in his room. He's almost a teenager. I get it. So I see him at feeding time is what I call it. So anytime he's hungry is when he ventures down, and that's when I get to see him.
Hey, trust me, I know we have nephews on both sides of the family, and my one nephew is all about video games and all of that life right now. So trust me, we're surrounded by boys.
Yeah, I make the joke that's why we have a female dog. It's because it's me, my son, then we have 5 cats, which are all boys, and then the dog is now a female because it was just my wife and she was surrounded by males. So we have a female. Yes, I'm talking about you.
Definitely needed to break it up. Then more power to her.
So I got to get this segment in, and I know I didn't pre-warn you about this, but I know you've listened to the show, and this has been everybody's favorite part of the show, and it is the Fast Fitty 5. 5 random questions from the wonderful manager of the podcast, Johnny Fitty Falcone, who was just on a couple weeks ago for his year anniversary. He was actually the first guest that came onto the show and turned it into him helping me run the podcast, which was awesome. But he's come up with this segment. I think it's phenomenal. And these questions get more and more random as this show goes on, Nicole. So I'm going to pre-warn you with that.
I love it. Let's do it.
Because these have nothing to do with what we've been talking about for the entirety of the show. So
Give them to me.
Question number 1. Out of the 4 major holidays, Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, and Easter, which holiday is the most overrated and the most underrated out of them?
Oh, most overrated. It's probably Christmas. I would say, because I mean, who doesn't speak like volumes about Christmas presents? Like it's kind of lost its luster in regards to what Christmas is actually all about. So it's definitely overrated. Underrated would be Easter.
Easter.
Yeah. I think Easter because let me put my words together here. Easter, because you don't really hear too much about Easter, right? Like you hear about Christmas. It's all about, oh, I got to go shopping for my kids. You hear about Thanksgiving, like the meal that's going to be served on the table. And then New Year's, like, oh, where's everybody celebrating New Year's? But you don't really hear any oomph about Easter. So Easter would be underrated.
I would have to agree on the underrated because when I was born, I was actually born on Easter Sunday. It was, it would just happen to fall on my birthday, so I get that. I like that answer. So question number 2, which is a better city, Cleveland or Pittsburgh?
Oh, okay. Well, so I'm from Pennsylvania, but I am not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Yeah, so whoever's listening is probably going to hate me for that, maybe. I grew up a Cleveland Browns fan, believe it or not. My dad is a Cleveland Browns fan. He's been a Cleveland Browns fan all of his life because of his grandfather, but everybody else in the family is Pittsburgh fans. Like all sides of my family are all Pittsburgh fans. So we were the unicorn in the family. My mom, my sister, my dad, and me, we all became Browns fans because of him. So as far as the city, though, Pittsburgh is a pretty jumping city. I do love the city of Pittsburgh, but as far as Pittsburgh Steelers go, boo. But I can't really say much because the Browns just disappoint every single year. So maybe one year will be our year. Maybe one. Maybe they'll give it to us.
I gotta say, isn't it like a little sacrilegious to not be a Steelers fan from PA? Like, isn't that like? There's a reason you live in Ohio now. I get it. It's okay. I get it. It makes sense now.
Teetered the border of PA and Ohio, so it's like where I'm originally from. So it's like you got to give me that.
I get.
And I blame it on my dad. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be dealing with this misery today.
They got a couple good years, I think, coming up here. I'll give you that. All right. So question number 3. Would you rather shop online or in person?
Online.
That's
my husband. We get a package here every single day. I mean, I try to buy locally when I can and support local businesses. I want to keep those local places in business. And I know they've gone through challenging times during what we're still experiencing with COVID. But the online shopping game, man, it's just easy. It's at the fingertips, and it's kind of the culture of what we're in now. So online shopping.
Yeah, I feel like that was a toss-up after that first question, because that was probably the hardest question he's asked, the very first question about the holidays. So I don't know why he gave you the toughest one, but
he's testing me. I love it.
And I got to tell everybody, I know I said it on me and him show, I don't get to see these questions before we record.
I don't believe you.
No, I promise. He sent them to me like 2 minutes before you jumped on here the Zoom.
Cool. It's okay. And I like a challenge, so it's fine.
Question number 4. If you could be a bird, which bird would you be?
Oh, that's a good one. It has to be a bird that's in the warmth, though. I am not a cold person. I would be gone out of Ohio tomorrow. I'm trying to drag my husband closer and closer to that. But so be a warm bird, like a parrot. Yeah, something like that. Or a toucan. What else is in the warm? Yeah, tropical bird for sure.
Okay. Question number 5. Who's a better overall performer, Lady Gaga or Jennifer Lopez?
Oh gosh, what? Oh man, they're both good in their own right. Oh wow, he would give me this one. I don't know. I got to give it to Lady Gaga. She's just different. She's unique. Who didn't love A Star Is Born and the music quality of that film. So I got to give it to her for sure.
Okay. Well, that was the Fast 55. And I don't know why, but he has had an obsession with birds. There's been a lot of bird questions, and not like what bird would you be? Like he asked somebody, who would you rather be, Larry Bird or Big Bird? Like it's just it's taken a weird turn. I don't know.
We're gonna have to question him on that and see what's really going on there.
There's a strange obsession with birds. I don't know what it is, but
we're gonna have to question him.
He's really getting closer and closer. And me and him talked about this on our year anniversary show, is him trying to make me laugh while reading these questions. I think he's testing my comedic abilities, and he's getting closer and closer to breaking me on some of these. Like it's getting more and more tough. But Nicole, we are running down near the end of the episode. I give every guest this opportunity here. So anything you want to get out there, where can people who want to join you on your nutrition and your health journey and everything like that, where can they find you? Now's your chance. The floor is yours for a minute, and tell us where they can find you.
Sure. So if you're a person that needs accountability, needs a routine, needs that blueprint mapped out, quite like I did, just not sure where to start, how to feel better, how to look better, how to lose weight. Maybe it's not losing weight. Maybe it's just having a healthier regimen, reach out to me. Again, my name is Nicole, Nicole, last name's Faeth, Faeth. I'm on Facebook. You can find me there. I am on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Nicole, Nicole Lee, Lee 318. You can find me on both of those. Just, feel free to private message me in those platforms, and we'll talk about your goals, what you want to see, what you want to accomplish. You don't know until you know, and everybody has a day one. Everybody starts in some way, shape, or form. The most important thing is to start. So I have actually 4 quotes to leave you with that resonate with me. So the first one is, take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. Second, don't be upset by results you didn't get from work you didn't do. Third, the distance between dreams and reality is called action. And fourth, it takes courage to show up and become who you really are. So yeah, those are 4 of my top favorite quotes. They speak to me, they speak to my heart. And so I hope that they speak to somebody else out there. And if you're struggling and you need help, I'm in your corner.
Oh, I wish I didn't have to do this right after that, because I love ending on good messages and stuff like that and good quotes like that. But I do have to get this out. Why is this happening twice in a row with me now? It's been like 2 shows in a row. Like, it's been just a great message at the end. But I gotta do this. So you are from Columbus. So everybody in the Columbus area, I will be performing at the Mad Labs Theater on February the 12th. Tickets are on sale. You can find them. The link is in my bio, and I will have it in the description here too as well. It's $15 for pre-sale, and it will be $20 at the door. There's only 100 seats. I have a lot of great comics coming to this show. I will be the host of the show. I have comics coming from all the way from Illinois. I got one coming from PA, one coming from West Virginia, and one who is a hometown person. I had to make a switch in the comic lineup, but come out to the show. It's going to be great. I really hate to do a promo over top of that great message, because
that's okay. Don't apologize. I'll throw one more thing then on top of that. If you hate working out, you do not have to work out on this program. There you go. Here's another little happy bit there. So
Nicole, I appreciate you coming on and taking the time out of your very busy schedule to talk to us here at the Ride Home Rants podcast. Thank you for the great message. Everybody look her up. I will have all of her social media in the description of this show too as well. You can find it there to go and start your health journey with her. That is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. As always, if you enjoyed the show, be a friend, tell a friend. If you didn't, tell them anyways. They might like it just because you didn't. That's going to do it for me, and I will see y'all next week.
Thanks, Mike.